Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If you want to test someone's honesty and spirit of justice, make sure that you apply the same standards that person tries to apply to you. You apply to them. And if that person is okay with that, to be, judged by the same standards, then yes, that is just. Because I can't ask you to jump through certain hoops in order to acquire something, but when I want to acquire that thing, I avoid the hoops and I just go and grab it. That's unjust, okay? That's very easy to figure things out. If the person who claims to be the pinnacle of justice and all that is really what he or she means. Now, we have here an example. And this is the United States in Syria. Can you tell me what are US forces doing in sovereign independent country of Syria? Okay, I thought so. They don't do something illegal. And why do I say that? Someone's military could be on another a country's military could be on in another country's territory, on another country's territory, if two options: invaded the country or invited in that country by the legitimate government. Now, one is illegal, the other one is legal. I don't remember the United States being invited by Syrian government, do you? So that means the second option is true. Now let's go, and I don't want to hear the justification that it was ISIS, because I'm going to give you the answer to ISIS like this. One, United States stated that, let's start with the beginning. If something occurs in some other country, you don't get involved whenever you want, and you figure things out and you straighten things out. It's not for you to get in, okay? We had riots here in the United States in 2020 or whatever, in Minnesota and all over. The Chinese did not come here with the army to straighten things out, okay? Just because they felt like, all right? They didn't. Why? Because they couldn't, obviously, right? Now, the same in Syria. The United States stuck its nose somewhere, invaded, let's call it an invasion, a sovereign country, which is Syria, right? And remained there in the eastern part of Syria, which has oil. Not the western part, the eastern part. So you tell me if that is justice. And they talk about Russia and Ukraine and sovereignty of Ukraine should be respected and all that. Yeah, should be respected. But what about Syria? All right, so we have here an article from a Russian source, and this is Sputnik. Regardless, we all know that American army over there is protecting the energy interest of the United States and others, the Western countries, that suck the oil of Syria and sell it on the market. We know that. It's nothing new. I'm just giving you this an example. Provided by the messenger, which is Russia. Ugly messenger? I don't care. It is a messenger. I don't care if it's ugly, fat, thin, or whatever. So I'm quoting, US forces reportedly, now reportedly doesn't mean it's a fact, okay? I know that one. Smuggle 79 more tankers filled to the brim with stolen Syrian oil. Well, I refer 79, they were 29, 3,000. I know that's happening. These guys say 79. Okay. Damascus has spent years accusing Washington and its Syrian Democratic Forces militia allies of siphoning, now let you suck it out, of siphoning off hundreds of millions of dollars worth of oil and food out of the U.S. occupied northern Syria, and preventing the country from rebuilding from a devastating decade-old foreign-sponsored conflict. Ignore the sponsor and all that. A 79 vehicle convoy of tankers carrying crude oil from oil fields in Jazeera, northeastern Syria, has been smuggling out of the country via the illegal Al Mahmoudiya crossing into northern Iraq, the Syrian Arab news agency has reported, citing sources in the Al Yarubiyah countryside in Al-Hasakah province. 2 days before that, the news agency reported that an additional 83 trucks, including scores of tankers, had crossed into Iraq via the Al-Mahmoudiya and Al-Walid crossing. Syrian authorities classified the border checkpoints as illegal because they remain outside the jurisdiction of the internationally recognized government in Damascus. So how about that? The US has at least 900 troops stationed in Syria, according to the Pentagon. Probably there's more. The Biden administration's formal jurisdiction for keeping boots on the ground in the war-torn country is to prevent the resurgence of ISIS. ISIS, I think they declared it was gone. That was a second argument. So if you won against ISIS, what are you doing there? Get your boots out. No. The terrorist group, which controlled wide swaths of northeastern Syria and northwestern Iraq between 2014 and 2017. Syrian officials say Washington's continued presence in the country is aimed at preventing Damascus from regaining control over oil, natural gas, and food resources in its northeastern territories. Regions. So what are they going to do? Syria to enjoy. Washington and its allies have also imposed crushing sanctions on the country and threatened nations that do business with Damascus with secondary restrictions. These sanctions have further limited Syria's access to resources needed to rebuild a devastating foreign-backed conflict which began in 2011 and have paved the country for importing medicine and medical equipment. We know that the rebels were sponsored by the West in the same way as the coup in Ukraine was sponsored in 2014 by the United States of America. Not sponsored, but supported and helped with whatever. Can't say too much because I live in a free world and free country. Anyway, so here you have it. These guys went over there, dropped their boots on the ground, killed whomever in that sovereign country, and now they didn't leave. And they talk about the Russians never leaving the countries where they invaded. Like what? Like Kazakhstan, where they went over there and solved the problem in a week and then they left. Wasn't it Kazakhstan before, Ukraine thing? They tried to destabilize the whole thing. The same here. So tell me about when I hear United States of America, the leaders, the weasels, the guys in control of us, telling us that we should respect the sovereignty of Ukraine, is like, I'm for it. I'm for the sovereignty of Ukraine. I'm not for you telling me that, and you telling me to accept having a lower standard of living because of Ukraine, because we somehow have to help them because of this reason. I disagree that because you are the main perpetrator here, the main suspect that you do it to Syria. So beat it. So yeah, when they talk about it, just think the same way, I suggest, because that's a fact. And if you don't like it done to you, then don't ask someone else doing it. But they say, well, Russia cannot do that over there. It's just Ukraine and all that. But you're doing in Syria, even worse, because you just dropped over there. Bang! Nobody invited you. That's two countries that Syria invited over there. That was Russia, and the other one was Iran. That's all. And then Iran said, you gotta go, and Iranians left. Israel says no, they didn't leave. Well, whatever. But I'm saying the legitimate, internationally recognized government of Syria invited the Russians and the Iranians. Iranians left, if they didn't or not, but the Americans, the French, the Brits, they were not invited. I think the Dutch were over there too, all the usual suspects, So they didn't leave. They stayed over there and they sucked something that doesn't belong to them. The oil doesn't belong to United States, doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the Syrian government, Syrian people. Well, there you have it. And you talk about the international rule of law and all that. When you hear them at United Nations, Liz Truss, Biden, and other weasels, feel like throwing up. Not anymore as much as before, when I was like, look at these guys and so. Yeah, that's all right. And not talking about these guys. These things happened for long before Biden and lazy. Yeah, sovereign Ukraine, sovereign Syria, and by the way, Kosovo and the territories of East Ukraine, referenda and independence, and Crimea and Kosovo, put them together, But Crimea no, Kosovo yeah. What? All right, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.